everyone. Thank you for joining the TTI program. I'm just waiting for someone at this time, but I'm hoping that I'm praying that you're all well at this time on this Saturday afternoon. Okay, now.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's family show. I'm really excited for today because it is about our mind and mental health, something that is really close to my heart as I'm in the field as well. We've got a lovely presenter here today called Joanna Daniel. You'll be seeing more of her as she presents later, but I thought it'd be great if we could start off with finding out about last week's challenge. I don't know if anyone remembers what last week's challenge was. I can remind you, but it was about temperance. So we was discussing good things that we can eat and then things that aren't so good for us to eat. So there was a challenge to try and incorporate some of the good things into our diets while removing some of the bad things out of our diets. I'm going to let you guys unmute and share how it's been for you, if you've managed to take on the challenge at all. And then I'm going to get the list of stuff up now so we can go through them. But guys, you can unmute and I want to hear your thoughts, how it's been for you with the last challenge. Just to let you know, the foods that were intemperate in the category was caffeine products, refined sugars. Yeah, you know, they were a big struggle for a lot of us. Flesh, so meaty products, vinegar was one, table salts, fish, white flour, cheese and milk, baking soda, smoking, and also drugs. We asked you guys to try and remove one of those. If you're struggling with any of those in your diet, to try and remove one. And then the good principles of eating, there was a list of eating 2 to 3 meals a day, never eating and drinking at the same time, not overeating. They're just some of the things that were listed last week. But I want to give you guys a chance. I don't want to do all the talking. So let me know your thoughts. How's it been for you this week with the challenge?
Well, it's very quiet.
Scary.
Scary. What, Safi, did you say scary?
Yeah, because you might say, I would do this. I think for a week, it's fine, but maintaining that, it's really hard.
That's very true, Safi. It's not going to be easy, especially if it's things that you are used to doing regular. So especially like 5 hours, you probably eat every 2-3 hours, and then to go 5 hour gap, it would be hard. If you're used to eating meat and then coming off meat, that will be hard. Even cheese. I'm sure myself and Natalia, coming off is not easy. It's not going to be easy. But I guess it's a lot of praying and having to do it, and just focus your mind and try and do it, but step by step, of course. But I'll say to people, I don't want you to go cold turkey on me. So step by step.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi, Charlene. Hi, Natalia.
Hi, Sharon.
With regards to the 10 different, the list of 10 things to try and implement for 21 days, was we supposed to do all 10, or could we select a few? Because you said baby steps.
Yeah, you was able to select. It wasn't take on this whole challenge. That was a bit unrealistic, in my opinion, but
okay.
One step is better than none.
That's fine. No, because quite a few of the things I do anyway, but the one that was a challenge for me was to try and maintain the 5 hour gap between meals. And I was actually surprised with, you know, I shouldn't be surprised because God's involved. But I was actually able to not snack, which was good for me. So I'm thanking God for that. Most days. In fact, to be honest, I could do it every day. But sometimes I let the willpower get the better of me. But I know I can do it. And I'm claiming that promise. I can do all things through Christ. So I'm claiming it. It's possible.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely, Sharon.
Indeed.
With me, I struggle with you know, remembering to drink before your meal, and not drinking like straight after the meal. That's something that I've always struggled with. So I've been trying to do that. So I'm trying to set an example as well for the kids, because you know, if you're teaching something, you need to live it yourself. So just being honest with you guys, it's not easy to be tight. We can get there. So yeah.
Sorry, Natalia,
Well,
you broke up, so we didn't really hear anything you said.
oh no. Can you hear me now? Hear me now,
Yes.
Shirley?
It's
Yeah, I was
funny.
saying it's funny.
Yeah. Go on, keep going. We'll see.
Yeah, I was just saying that regardless, even if you haven't managed to take on any of the challenges, or if you attempted some and it didn't work, or just anything, we'd just like to just hear some feedback from you guys. Anything is valid to hear, because it can encourage somebody out there.
Definitely. Definitely. I 100% agree. So anybody else that is able to share with us, encourage somebody else when it comes to doing these challenges? I don't know if they probably struggled or if it's something that they're used to, but it's very quiet. We've only had Safi and Sharon give their feedback. Even if you're struggling, we can all help one another, support one another. So it's even good to hear, even if you may not want to say it, but it'd probably be nice as well.
I'd like to say
help somebody else. Thank you, Unique.
Yeah, I struggle with cheese. It's so bad. And, you know, I get flare-ups and I still eat it. So that's my struggle. I really need to stop eating it. It's a very bad thing that I do. And also, well, I haven't eaten meat for a long time. I'm talking about good 5 years. But then, you know, in December, I had a piece of fish. I felt bad. But yeah, so you know, you can do it, you know, just persevere. And I said, I won't eat fish again. But I've been trying to do what you did with it. I wasn't on here last week, but try not to eat in between. I have done that. But yeah, I struggle with cheese. And another thing is crisps. That's my big thing that I struggle with. And I need to overcome that because it's not good for me. That's it, really.
Thank you, Unique. Thank you.
Cheese is not easy to give up. I think that and fish is like the last things when you're starting to transition to remove. Those two, fish and cheese, are the hardest.
Good afternoon, all. I've just had to make a comment.
Hello.
I saw your challenge last week, but in regards to commenting, I think for myself, I go through different phases, but at the same time, I also try to discipline myself and try to have that mindset. And I think that's the key word, is that mindset. Yes, we're going to have days where we're going to, indulge in them little goodies. But if we really sort of like say, okay, even if it's for one day itself, we take one day at a time and say, okay, today I'm not going to have any, say for example, cheese. Tomorrow you might slip and have a bit of cheese. But as you keep going through that daily process, second day, no cheese, third day, fourth day, and after a period of time, it's gonna sort of like withdraw out of your system. Again, for myself, my wife just started to make her own cheese now. So now we do not buy any more vegetarian cheese. She actually makes her own cheese now. So for us, that's a really good start, because I just came back from England last week. I went to visit my mother for the Christmas holiday. And you know what mothers are like? My mom feed me like a king. I had, you name it, I ate it. And I said, Mom, I don't eat this anymore, you know? He said, it's okay, so just get it down you. And it was nice, but at the same time, because my eating habits have changed, it's very difficult to sort of like readapt. But as I said, because it was Christmas, I was with my family, I had all them goodies, and now I'm back home. I'm going to go back on my diet now to what I'm originally accustomed to. As the lady was saying, I don't really eat fish. I went for a phase where I weaned off fish for about 2-3 months. And then I went back on fish for a while. And then I realized when I was home last week, I was having fish every other day because my mom was just cooking fish. And so what I'm trying to show you is this. It was difficult. Yes, it was a blessing to be home and with the family. But now I'm back in my remit, then I'm more into control to say, okay, that was nice having them little treats, but now I'm going to get back to how my body operates. And I know my body. You got to know your body and know what's going to be beneficial to your sort of like makeup. Okay, and once you establish that, then you're going to be back on track.
Very true. Thank you for those words, Stuart. Thank you.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi, Paula.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I had no problem with the challenge because it's part of what I do all the time.
It's something that you want.
Diet. I don't need any cheese, any meat, anything. And last year, instead of like doing the 5 hours a gap, I do 4 because I'm active. And I do physical work, so I can't wait 5 hours till I eat. I have to eat something in between. So I did after 4 hours I eat.
So you say you eat after 4 hours?
Yeah, because I do physical work. So plus I'm diabetic, so I need to have something after, because I'm always walking, and so I can't do 5 hours sometimes.
4 hours is still good, Paul, especially how you said the diet because you are diabetic.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually quite longer than what the doctors would probably tell you to do, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that's still good though, Paula.
Well, I don't eat any meat, any fish, anything, any milk. I do vegan stuff, lots of beans. I drink the oatmeal milk, the rice milk, and things like that. So it was no problem for me.
Thank you, Paula. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you much better.
Lovely. Thank you guys for all your comments. We really appreciate it. And just to encourage you as well, we do have someone on our platform called Janine who has Plant Easy, and she makes loads of nice healthy meals. She makes a really nice chicken or some lovely vegan cheeses as well. Like she made like her own parmesan with cashews and stuff like that. So if that's something that you're interested in, we can post her Instagram details so we can share some recipes. And to also go with the what's the word? The theme of today with mental health. A lot of her meals are also really good for your mindset, to help you with your mental health and other things like that. So I just thought I'd just put that one out there as well while we're on the topic. But yeah, thank you guys. Is there any more?
Can I just make a quick comment, please? Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. I wasn't on your program last week, so I don't know what your challenges are. I would just like to say there's one young lady that said she struggles with cheese, and I understand what she means. But she said she ate fish around about Christmas time and she felt bad. I think when it's a journey for everyone, and everyone develops differently. Just a word of advice, really, don't feel bad and beat yourself up if you turn back and eat a piece of cheese now and then, or you eat a piece of fish, because feeling bad is, I feel that's not going to be a good mental attitude towards it. You know, make little steps, as someone said before. Just to say as well, perhaps if you're struggling with the cheese so much, when I don't know about your household or anything, so try not to buy so much of it, or try cut down the amount you buy, and gradually you can stop buying it, and then the temptation won't be at home. But I'm just saying, don't beat yourself up because you slipped once and had something, because I don't think that's a healthy way to get through leaving off these things.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. That is very, very true. Just take one day at a time and don't beat yourself up, because appetite is a personal thing. And by God's grace, you work towards it every day. You work towards, your health and try and improving every day. But yeah, thank you for that comment.
Thank you.
Can I add something here, Charlene? Charlene?
Hello? Yes.
Can
Audrey?
I add something? Yeah, it's Audrey.
Yes.
Just to say that there's nothing as wonderful as the power of prayer. I was on another platform and there was this beautiful testimony of a lady who now actually teaches, runs cookery programs. She struggled when she first joined. She struggled, and for 3 years, she begged God to help her to overcome her problems so that she can change. And after 3 years of pleading with God, she managed to change. So each and every one of us have got a journey. Some of us can change overnight because of our circumstances, but others will take a longer time to change, and it doesn't matter. Just ask God, pray and pray and pray, and He'll answer you and help you to overcome.
Amen. Thank you for that, Sister Audrey. Thank you for that. And the other lady, so I don't know your name. It comes up with Stevenage, SD, I think it said. So thank you for yours.
Sorry, my name is Beverly. I
Beverly.
Apologize.
No, it's
Yeah.
okay, Beverly. Thank you for that, for your comments as well.
Thank you.
Is there any more comments before we get into the disclaimer?
Yes, can I just say something? It's Louise here.
Of course.
Hey, Louise.
Hi there. When I first joined the church, because I didn't know about Adventism, it's only through Alvin I didn't know them. Or I think I was the worst person because I was a coffee lover. I drank 24 cups in one morning.
Wow.
And it had to be strong and black. And when I met Alvin, and like Adventist people say, you can't have this, you can't have that, I thought, oh dear. Okay, let me change my diet. Well, Alvin, I had the expensive coffee, the coffee filter and everything. Because my line is chefing and de-stressing myself. Well, I thought I was de-stressing myself with coffee and everything. So anyway, when Alvin said, oh, you know, what harmful it does and all that, at first of all, I thought, oh, I can't do this. I have to have my coffee and all that. So he gave me barley cup and everything. That barley cup was gone in a day. Because it wasn't strong enough for me. But I gradually did it. But I recommend, if anybody has coffee, I know that Adventists, some people do, but some don't. I'm not judging anybody, but just take it slowly. But I did it quick. I got the shakes, I got headaches, and I had it really bad because I had coffee really drink coffee really bad and all that. Now I can't stand the smell of it. It's making me feel sick. And I would just praise God for that. Like you say, sister, about cheese and everything, just take it gradually. Just everybody's different. Doesn't matter what we love and the damage it does. It does make a difference, because at the end of the day, we all know what we're supposed to do and all that for our bodies, but we have to do it gradually. God is there for us, and at the time, He's there helping us all the way.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Louise, for that. And those who were on the essential oil class on Thursday as well. Like my mom, she had coffee just like you, Louise, and the withdrawal symptoms is terrible, absolutely terrible. So, and now she's off it as well. So, as you said, you have to take your time, take baby steps, little steps, and then you'll be coming out all happy and that you've done it. But it just takes time. It's not going to be overnight.
Yeah. Thank you, Louise. Guys, I really I admire your openness. It's so encouraging that everyone's being so open. I love it. Any more comments, anyone?
I just want to thank everyone for that. Sister Audrey and Sister Beverly and Louise. And yes, thank you all for that. It really helped.
Hi, Natalia, it's Janine.
Hi, Janine.
Just to let you know that I have put the Instagram handle in the chat. So if anyone is...
You're muted, Janine.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, can hear you.
Yeah, so I have put the Instagram handle in the chat for Plant Easy. So if anyone is struggling with plant-based recipes, and also as we're going to hear, you know, when it comes to the mind, obviously what you eat affects the mind. So a lot of them are also, they incorporate food items that help with the mind. Then they can follow or they can contact me directly, because that is what, you know, I attempt to specialize in. So I'll put it in the chat if anyone is interested. Just thought I'd let you know.
Thank you, Janine.
You're on YouTube, Janine.
Sorry, say that again?
Could it be accessed via YouTube?
No, it's just an Instagram handle at the moment. But if anyone wants, if anyone's not on Instagram and they just want some recipes, then by all means, you can contact me directly in the chat and I can give you my number. I'm more than happy to help.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Right. Could somebody, we're going to just share the disclaimer before we get into the presentation. Are you guys able to share it on the screen, please? Right, guys. So here at TTI, our disclaimer is only a physician can diagnose, treat, and prescribe for illness or disease. Any information disclosed or discussed at this TTI Zoom talk show are for educational and informational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your general practitioner regarding any illness or disease you may be suffering from. Thank you. Wallace, for sharing that. I think if there isn't any more comments, we can go straight into the presentation now. Joanna, if you would like to introduce yourself and we can start.
Good evening, everyone. And my name is Joanna Daniel. I need to explain something a little bit. This is going to be really confusing because of sound reasons. My laptop seemed to not work this afternoon. You're going to see me, the one that the audio is coming out of is just my photo. But if you look at Joanna Daniel 1, you'll see my face. So I'm sorry for the confusion, but as it happens, technology sometimes let us down. But my name is Joanna, and I'm a trauma-informed counselor. I work mostly with adult survivors of childhood trauma and abuse, and I do that in private practice. I live in Wales, where we homeschool 3 children, twins that are 14, and the baby who is not a baby is 10. And we run an online ministry called Wounds to Scars. We do retreats, conferences, and courses that provides a safe place for people to heal. I'm also an author and a speaker. So that's me. So that's what I do. Should I just go into the presentation, Natalia?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, right. Okay, so wonderful. So I'm going to share my screen. We're talking about something that's really, really dear to my heart. Really dear to my heart is mental health, for obvious reasons. But before I was a counselor, it was dear to my heart. That's just how God did it. So as I said, my husband and I, we run a ministry. We do retreats and conferences, and we use these strategies in our retreats and in our conferences. What I want you to be aware of, and what I'm going to, as we go through this afternoon and talk about God's plan for managing emotions during the pandemic, is just go with me. It's not just a mental process. I'm going to talk a lot about the body, because the body is involved in helping us to have good mental health, and that our well-being is okay and is protected. So I'm going to talk a lot about the body as well. Now, there are many ways that we can manage emotions, and sometimes what we do is dependent on the situation, and what we do might differ for everybody. So some of the things that I'll share here this afternoon, it might be different for you depending on your circumstance, depending on where you live, depending on the thing that you're managing, depending on how you manage crisis. It differs. However, I'd like to share with you 8 critical elements of well-being management and maintenance that's really important. So as the acronym said, God's plan. So it's godly trust, and I'm going to break down each one. Godly trust, open air, daily exercise, sunshine, plenty of rest, lots of water, and always temperate, and nutrition. And you may have heard it in another form, but it's the same thing. But I'm going to connect it to mental health. One of the things, managing emotion is not purely a cognitive process. So mental health is not only about, if you think right, then you're going to be okay. And all you have to do is be positive and you're fine. And there's this term that is used more now called toxic positivity, where everybody's fine and we're just okay. And if you just be positive and if you just be okay. And people who do that is a denial of feelings and denial of emotions. And sometimes because they don't have good emotional management, because they don't have good well-being management, because nobody's okay all the time. But we want to know is, what can I do to manage those times when I'm not okay? Or what can I do to support someone else who is not okay? So as I said, some people think if I just think right, then I'm going to be okay. I just need to think right. So what we know to be true is that mental health would get worse during and after the pandemic. Mind the Mental Health Charity is calling this, we're having an emergency, a mental health emergency due to the pandemic. People who had busy as a coping mechanism don't have busy anymore. And we're finding that, I mean, for me, for example, in private practice, being extremely busy. We know that mental health charities like Mind are doing lots of fundraising to be able to provide more support for people during the pandemic. So we know that there's a huge impact on mental health. And there was a post that Mind did on the 17th of December to specifically talk about men's mental health that is under pressure, because suicidal thoughts have more than doubled in the last 10 years, but I can imagine this period. So it's really a crucially important topic, and I'm excited when it gets on the agenda and when we're doing well-being that we include mental health. So God's plan is 8 strategies that we use to engage the body and the mind in order to be okay. I use them. I just came back from but before we started, came back from a 4-mile walk, because exercise is crucially important. I'm giving away one of the plan already. But because I know that I'm going to be here this afternoon, after this, I'm going on another one and another one. So I need to be okay. And I use that in order to manage my well-being. The body is involved because we're learning more and more as through research, the brain and the nerves, the brain nerves, the spinal cord is connected to the brain, to the nervous system, attached to all the organs, connected to all the organs. So what I'm going to share here with regards to the body is how to also soothe the nervous system in order to have good mental health. So today I'm going to share these 8 strategies with you, and we're going to talk about food as well, because food is an important part of the overall management. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat and we will look at them afterwards. So some people feel like good mental health is when I'm happy all the time. And that's why I talk about toxic positivity just now. But happiness is not a station that we arrive at, but it's a matter of traveling. It's how we do the journey. And I saw that quote and I thought it was really appropriate. It's how we do the journey, it's how we do life. The world was plunged into chaos. Our world anyway, it started in other places, but our world went into chaos in March when we unimaginably, we could have not have imagined that this was going to happen, where we went into lockdown and we all had to stay home and we couldn't go anywhere except to the supermarket and back home. And my son said this to me this morning. He said, "Mom, I'm tired now," he said. I've had enough of this. I want to go out. I want to do something. And so, even the children are struggling. I don't have answers for him because I don't know when or how long it's going to last. But what I do know is that we have to have the capacity and the ability to be able to be with and own what's happening so that we can talk it through and work it through. So it's affecting everybody. I'm going to share more about what we do at the end, but that's my husband and I, and our website is woundstoscars.com, where you can, lots of information is there around mental health, managing our emotions. So God's plan. So there are two sections to this plan that I want to talk through just really briefly. Social interaction, which is the impact of social interaction on mental health, that is well documented. We need people. And perhaps that's why people struggle so much, because the access that we had to community, we don't have that anymore. We don't have that access anymore. We don't go to church for those of us who go to church anymore. And for me, who's a homeschooling mom, that one day a week was really crucial for me, because that's the only day I get to see people and have adult conversations all day. I mean, I'm home with my children and we talk, and I'm here and I work, my husband comes home and we talk, but to talk to other adults, I had one day when that happened, and that one day was taken since March. I've not been able to do that. So it is a struggle, and we have to be aware of the importance of social interaction. So there are things that we can do on our own. So there are some things that we can do on our own, and there's some things that in community is a really important part of managing our well-being. When we can be in community, like this is a community. If you come on every week, Natalia's name and Janine's name, and you can have a conversation and you can talk. And when it's time to turn the cameras on, you turn on and wave. It's a really important part of hopefully helping to keep you, because there's something that you look forward to every week when you can come on Zoom and you can talk to the people that you've been seeing for so many months. So there are activities that you can do on your own as well to keep your body regulated, to keep your body at peace, I'm going to call it. And regulated mean when our bodies are in balance, when we're balanced, when we are at our place of peace, when nothing's going on, when we're not in our fight or flight place, when we're not triggered, when we're okay. When we're not agitated and there are no butterflies in our stomach and our shoulders are not stiff and our back's not hurting and we're not having brain fog. That's what we call a regulated place, when our bodies are. And when we can be in that space, then our well-being is protected. When we can know how to, so that the idea is not that we're always there, because we live in a world where stuff happens. But the idea is, when it shifts, how do I get back? How do I get back to that place where I'm okay, when I'm at peace, when I'm fine? So let me give this example. I was talking to my husband as we go for a walk earlier, and I gave him this example. Say you're going on the road, and if like me, you're afraid of dogs, and you hear woof woof, you know, a massive dog. You hear the sound first, and then he's bounding out the road at you. Your bodies, our bodies, all of us would immediately go into the amygdala, in the emotional center where fight or flight resides. And immediately the body is flooded with adrenaline and cortisol and another stress hormone, which I always forget the name. And it's designed to make us move. It's designed to make us move. It's saying, go. I would go. I'm terrified of dogs, so I'd run. So that would mean our body's not regulated, because the stress hormones have flooded our body. But when I run down the road and I'm calm, and the dog, you know, the owner comes and get the dog, and the dog goes back inside, and I'm further away, and I'm breathing, and the butterflies in my stomach stop, and my joints is not so weak anymore, and I've gained strength and I can walk. This is what we call regulated. My body is coming back to a place of peace again, because something happened that shifts it. And it takes milliseconds to shift. The space between trigger and automatic response is 15 milliseconds it takes. So before we know it, we're in that place. And it's knowing what to do to get us back to that place where I'm not nervous anymore, and and I'm okay again. Okay, so I hope we're together. So the first one is godly trust. The first of God's plan for managing our emotions during the pandemic is godly trust. And not all of us here, perhaps maybe Christian, are subscribed to that worldview, but having the ability to trust that this is going to be okay, that whatever is going on, that is going to be over, that is not going to last forever, that there are things that I can do to make myself okay. There are things that I can follow. And for those of us who believe in prayer, we pray, and part of that helps to keep us at peace and to keep the body and the mind soothed and at peace, and really does help to improve well-being. So there's a Bible verse that I love in Jeremiah 30 verse 17, where it says, "For I will restore health unto thee and heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord." And again, for those of us who believe, I believe that is a promise for mental health as well. So there's open air. That's the O. Open air. Spending as much time as you can outdoors really does help. There's research that is showing this more and more, that when we spend time in green spaces, the importance of it and how it helps to soothe and to calm. Now, if you're living in the cities, or, you know, we're in lockdown now, and you probably can't go to parks or nature reserve and places like that anymore. And I always like to say to my clients, put it on YouTube, turn on YouTube. Turn on YouTube. Adrenaline is definitely one of them. I've just seen the chat, but there's another one as well. Turn on YouTube, I say, and just look at the trees on the screen, because there's so many benefits of being in nature. So if you can't go for a walk and you need to be in open air, keep the windows open. I was on a couple of weeks ago when somebody mentions this. Keep the windows open. There's cortisol is one too. There's another one, but keep them coming. Thank you for helping. So, you know, keep the windows open. Go outside and just stand at your door if you can't walk in your neighborhood, and deep breathe. Stand at the door and deep breathe. You know how I just talked about going down the road and seeing the dog, and it puts me in my fight or flight. When we're in that place, we don't have access to our thinking brain, to the prefrontal cortex, where we do our reason and our thinking and make good decisions. So, but when we are in that place, regardless of what's happening, and we deep breathe, it really soothes the emotional brain and gives us back access to our thinking brain. So that's how important open air is. So for you, because we're locked down, your trigger might be in the home. It might be whatever, loss of job. It might be an abusive situation. It might be not being able to manage the children. It could be so many different things. So the ability to know what to do to soothe the brain and give you back access to your thinking brain, so you can make some decisions about who to call for support, a free line to call to talk, ring the Samaritans, call a friend, pray. You want access to your thinking brain to be able to do that. And open air is really, really beneficial for helping to do that. Okay, as we deep breathe out in the open. So spending time outdoors seems to have discernible benefits for physical and mental health. And some of the benefits are, of course, because we're out in the open, we have access to the sunlight when the sun does come out. And so there is vitamin D levels, 15 to 20 minutes outdoors when the sun is out gives us vitamin D. And vitamin D is really important for a number of functions in the body. It really does help to with mood as well. And for those of us who are Afro-Caribbean in the UK, we really need the vitamin D, and it helps with mood as well. It helps with our moods. So it's not just, we don't need vitamin D only for bone function and stuff like that. It's critical. It plays a critical role in early brain development, and it plays a critical role in moods. It functions and underlies healthy mood. Okay, so it really does help with the mood. So if you're not going out in the open and we're not getting enough sunshine this time of year in Britain, vitamin D3, the tincture that you get from Holland & Barrett's is really important to use, especially for those of us who are Afro-Caribbean. I saw something on the news some months ago where the government was encouraging the use of vitamin D. So we know the importance of it. It's good for the immunity, but it also really is good for the brain as well. And so this research was done. The research shows that being outdoors, especially in green places, helps to elevate the mood. And it's a research that's done by the University of Essex in England. So yeah, there's lots of benefits of being outdoors. Daily exercise. Now this one is so crucial. There's so many parts to this but I'm only going to break down a few bits of exercise and some of the things that we can do to exercise. Now, if you're like me and you hear exercise, you might think an hour on YouTube or going to the gym or any one of those strenuous things, running a marathon, all that kind of stuff, and we don't want to do it. Now, I don't like exercise that if it says half an hour on the YouTube video, I don't like that one. But I like the ones that say 4 minutes. So I can do 2 lots of 4 minutes and I feel really great because I do 2 sets of exercise. So because it helps me then, but because if I see half an hour, 5 minutes in, I'm like, man, this is taking long. This is taking long. And I know the benefits of exercise to help our body stay healthy and help my mind stays clear and healthy too, and help me to manage my emotional states. Exercise really does help with a range of mental health problems, depression and anxiety. It helps to balance the mood. If you you're in a pressure or crisis, exercise every day by stretching, doing your 4 minutes of jumping up to a YouTube video, going for a walk, going for a jog for those who loves running. Whatever you do, it really does help to soothe and calm the nervous system. It helps to soothe and calm the sympathetic system of the brain, and it helps to give us access to our thinking brain. It calms the body, it regulates the mood, and it helps you to manage when lots and lots of stuff is happening. So it really is really great to develop a habit of exercise, And I know that sometimes exercise, sometimes it can be difficult to maintain it. And if you miss a week, then to get back on track takes a lot of effort. But one client said this to me, she said, exercise has become as important as brushing my teeth. And I was so excited to hear that because it really does impact. Yes, short bursts of exercise. I was going to say that. Make sure your heart rate goes up when you're doing it. So even if you're walking, kind of make it vigorous, make your heart rate goes up. Of course, don't do vigorous exercise after a meal. You need to do it before or an hour more after you've eaten so that you can be okay. But it really does help. It helps with digestion. It helps to increase digestion. And sometimes when we've been harmed or we're dealing with crisis, research is showing that the cumulative effect of life has have a similar impact on the body as people who've experienced childhood trauma. And people who've experienced childhood trauma, there's a myriad of physical health problems as a result of. But research is showing that when we ignore the cumulative effect of life, it's having a similar impact on the body. So the cumulative effect of life, I mean, none of us escaped since March. It's impacted all of us in some way or the other, even if it means staying home, even if it means you're plunging homeschooling, even if it means you can't go to the day center, can't see your friends, can't go to church, whatever way it's impacted, it has an impact. And so we shouldn't ignore the impact. We shouldn't ignore the effects. We should do something to mitigate against it so that we can be okay, so that the crisis, the emergency that we're having with mental health, because you have this information, you're going to use the information, and so that the emergency won't impact you. And if each of you share the information that you learn, then your friends and family will benefit as well. So if exercise is effective in dealing with daily stresses, really is effective in dealing with daily stresses, exercise. So if you have a stressful life, exercise once a day. The event won't disappear, but the exercise limits the impact of that event on your body and on your mind, and gives you the ability to plan, to make decisions, and to execute. Okay. So some types of exercises: gardening, chopping wood, walking, cycling, swimming. Of course, we can't go swimming, but you could still cycle around, or if you have an indoor cycle, one of those stationary bikes, or walking, and if you live in the country, chopping wood or gardening. Now, gardening is effective whether you have a garden or not. You can do things indoors. I'm going to talk through a little bit of that. So exercise helps us to manage daily stress, as I say. So gardening, you can garden indoors. You can have pots of things on your windowsill, and you can plant it. I like gardening, but I don't like worms. So I stay away from the garden outside. So my husband does that bit. And I have things on my windowsill. I have mint and thyme. I was trying to do a parsley, but I need help. I have aloe vera. So different things, and plants, flowers, just flowers for the sake of it. So you can do different things on your windowsill. And, you know, so it has so many dual purposes, because it's really therapeutic, playing in the soil and working with soil, really therapeutic. There is a body of work that is coming out around therapeutic gardening. So it really does help to soothe and to calm as well, and just to take your mind off. So as opposed to watching a Netflix series, do some gardening. Go get some pots from the garden center and plant some things on your windowsill. And just the process of nurturing the plants, of making sure they're watered, of making sure they're growing, of paying attention to them, just that is really therapeutic in itself, and really soothing and calming. Okay. And just the beauty of seeing them grow and flourish, and just having the green things indoors is really a great therapeutic tool. If you have children and they're getting upset and anxious, and everybody take part in, put down stuff that protects your carpet, or use the dining room table or whatever space you have, and everybody take part in planting something, and they have responsibility for caring for it, because it will really help them too. Okay, so the benefits of gardening: there is hope in the soil, but brain and heart and strength must be brought into the work of tilling it. So there's hope in the soil. It's a therapeutic activity for those of us who are from the Caribbean or Africa, or used to an outdoor life and planting. You probably will remember what it felt like for you as a child, playing in the soil, how wonderful that felt. Somebody said, oh, VK said, I found pleasure in gardening since the lockdown. Yeah, see, it's amazing, gardening. And there's this one that's really close to my heart, Red January. And I know we're in January, and you probably can't sign up now because we're halfway through it. But Red January was developed by a woman who saw physical activity saved her mom, helped her mom heal from depression and anxiety. And since then, she Mind runs Red January every January, because it's such a long, dark, bleak month, and people with mental health really struggle in January. And so the idea behind Red January is to move every day for January, at least once a day. So movement can be anything. So it's running, walking, indoors or outdoors. For those who are on my social media, you saw me on Sunday. I had my full Red January stuff on, my bandana and my t-shirt, and I went for a 6-mile walk because I saw this kept somebody alive 2 years ago. And so I really believe in the power and the ability of physical exercise. Doesn't have to be anything strenuous, as I say, but it really does help to manage mental health really, really well. So a young woman was inspired to start Red January after witnessing the transformative effect that regular exercise had in helping her mom recover from severe depression. It really is effective. For those of us who we're not moving, I'm going to encourage you to start moving, especially now, because it really will help to, and there's so many benefits of it physically and mentally. So I really want to encourage you to do that. And then there is the S is in God's plan is for sunshine. And as I talked about the benefits of being outdoors and the sun and vitamin D, and just how put it in the chat. Do you feel sad when the sun is out and you're outside? How do you feel when the sun is out and you're outside? Put that in the chat. How do you feel when the sun is out and you're outside? Do you feel sad? Is it gloomy? How do you feel when it's outside? Happy, yes. It feels great, isn't it? Nobody, we're very happy. We're smiling and you're relaxed and all of that. So even though it's cold, when the sun comes out, sit in the window and let it feel elated. I love that word. Just let the sun just be rejuvenated. There's another great one. Just let the sun shine on you, or go outside, stand in your doorway if you can't go for a long walk. But whatever you do something to be in the sun, because we know the benefits of the sun and our mental health and our overall well-being. Okay, you feel like you're on a holiday. Yeah, I could do with a holiday. So definitely when the sun is out, I try to go outside. So the benefits of sunshine, vitamin D that helps with the mood. And again, I say because there's not a lot of it, take supplements or go somewhere sunny. We know we're not going anywhere much now because of what we're living in, the pandemic that we're in. But go outdoors as much as you can when the sun is out. 2 weeks ago, not last week, the week before, it was sunny down here. And though it was freezing, but the children all played outside. They were climbing trees, playing in the park because the sun was out and they were happy. And then it started raining again. We had to come in. But when you see the sun, take advantage of it. And number 5 is plenty of rest. Plenty of rest. That's the P in God's plan. Plenty of rest. We need rest to function. Tell me how you feel when you are tired. How do you feel when you're tired? Put it in the chat again. Tell me how you feel when you're tired. Put a 1 if you feel irritable, or a 2 if you're at peace and you're calm. When you're tired, how are you? Miserable. I know. Number 1, right. There you go. When we're tired, we tend to be we're easier to fly off the handle, as people say. We get irritable, we get upset, we get frustrated easier. There's all of that happens more when we're tired. When we're tired, we're not as on guard, we're not as protected, we don't have as much access to the thinking brain, we're easily triggered. Anything could trigger us. It could be the news report, it could be seeing the number of people diagnosed this week, it could be seeing lethargic and irritable, Audrey said. It could be anything. When we're tired, we're easily triggered. And so managing emotional states then is not so easy when we're tired. And so in order to, when we think of mental health and our overall well-being, it's really important that we think about rest, and we think about implementing it and instituting rest as part of our regime to keep healthy and have good well-being. Okay. So let's talk about rest for a little bit. That's beautiful and restful, isn't it? Just peaceful and calm. So there are different places that you can go to rest, in a garden, in your own garden. Put up a picture like that and just look at it and rest. I said, somebody asked me recently, what do I do as a counselor dealing with so much and hearing so much, especially since the pandemic and all of that's been going on? And I said, silence is my favorite thing to do. Just being in silence. I'm just going to sip a little bit of water. Thank you. Just being in silence is my favorite thing to do. I can be in my room, lie on my back, the lights are off, everything is quiet, and I can be like that for like 2 hours. I have to make myself move because I love it so much, because rest is so crucial. So that's one of the things that's one of the ways that I use it. Now I know that because we're in the pandemic and nobody's going anywhere and we're working from home, and because you're working from home, you can do it in your pajamas, so you don't have to wake up at 5 o'clock to get the kids out the door and to be on time and all of that. So sometimes we might think, oh, well, I don't have to go to bed this time then. I can go to bed whatever time. I can go to bed at 12. I can go to bed at 1 in the morning. I can be up at 2. I can be watching this program and that program. I can be on this Zoom call and that one. I can talk to this person. I can be up. I'm not going anywhere tomorrow, so I can do that. But if we're looking at ways to manage our well-being, having routine is really important. And having regularity in things like sleep is not to be ignored. Really is important in managing emotional state, managing our emotions, and helping us. What all of this is designed to give you as much access as possible to your thinking brain, to the frontal lobe, so that when you're triggered, you know how to come back to your place of peace and you can be okay. And what it does, if you consider this glass, if you look at Joanna Daniel 1, if you consider this glass, life is kind of, if you think this glass is life and the water in it is us, yeah? So this glass is not all full. So I have capacity. This is what I call it, capacity. That means with this space that's left in the glass, I can think, I can reason. I don't, lose my mind if anything goes on. I'm okay. But if anything else pours in, before long, it overflows. And when it overflows, then I don't have, when it overflows, then I don't have as much capacity as I would. So I'm going to struggle. Okay. So when we get enough rest, that's what it does. It really helps the body to soothe and to calm. It gives us ability to think. We're not irritable. We're not as easily frustrated. It gives us time to widen the space between the trigger and the automatic response so that we can manage the day-to-day stresses of life. And sleep plays an important part in that. So I don't know how many hours you sleep per night, but less than 6 hours sleep is associated with lower overall blood flow to the brain, hindering your mood, your focus, and your memory for days. And it also increases your appetite. So you're doing something else to cope. So that's less than 6 hours a day. So just think about how many hours sleep do I get per night, because it's affecting the blood flow to the brain and it's affecting your mood. All right. And it affects your memory as well, which increase risk of the weight gain, depression, loss of focus, and willpower. So sleep, who would think of that? A simple thing as sleep has such a big impact on us. I see a raised hand, but if you can, keep your questions until after, I really appreciate that. And then we have the L is lots of water. Water is really important to keep the body hydrated. Again, help the brain. The brain is an organ just as much a muscle like anything else. Like you look after your kidneys, you look after your liver, you look after your wherever else we look after, we have to look after our brains too. And so we need lots of rest and water and vitamin D from sunshine, and exercise and all of that to help us help with the brain. Drinking up to 8 glasses per day. Sometime you need more. If you're here and you've experienced traumatic incidents that could sometimes trauma damages our digestive system, we need more because then it helps with digestion. It helps with digestion. It helps to digest the food. So if you experience trauma, your digestive system is not working well, the trauma is not healed, and you're not drinking enough water, then even if sometimes you eat well and eat healthily, the body might not get as much nutrients as it needs to get. Then the blood flow to the brain is impacted and it's a cycle. So it's really important to drink enough water. And the T is always be temperate. The A rather in God's plan, the last A is always be temperate. So temperate in work and play. I talked about sleep and talk about rest, and sometimes we're going to bed like 2, 3 in the morning, and we're not having enough rest, and the knock-on effect of that mentally and physically. We're not as focused. We're not feeling as able as we need to. We're not able to think and make decisions, and we're not functioning as we should because we're doing things in extremes. And I'm talking to myself as well, because sometimes working, I like what I do. And so sometimes if I'm writing, or if I'm recording videos, or if I'm, just answering questions or sending emails or doing anything, because I homeschool, when the children goes to bed at 8, that's my time, So after sitting down for a while, then sometimes I work, and sometimes before I know it, it's 2 in the morning. So I'm having to wean myself and to bring myself back to go to bed. Don't open the laptop. Just don't start working. I have to talk to myself. I have to have stern words with myself sometime. Don't start working, Joanna, because if you start, you're not going to want to stop. Go to bed. So I'm trying to, I've started going early so I can wake up early. And those hours in the morning are so precious. So I wake up early, do my devotion, and then do some work, do my exercise before the children wake up. And it feels better than when I'm staying up late. So if you kind of, the balance got shifted for you, and you're going to bed late, try to redress the balance and go to bed earlier, because it really does help. So always be temperate. And, we're in a lockdown. As I said, we may feel like we're not going anywhere tomorrow, so we don't have to go to bed early, but it still does help. So the benefits of temperance, it gets you to have your quiet time, you get more done, and the body is regulated. So really, really help. And the last letter in God's plan, nutrition. I'm saying it like that because I like food, and I like nice food. So it really helps. Food is really is a key part of looking after the brain and looking after the frontal lobe. Janine talked about her Instagram page, Plant Easy, where it's plant-based, sugar-free, perhaps, those things, because we know, and I do Dr. Nedley's Depression Recovery Program and use it to help people who experience depression. And one other thing that research shows is that refined sugar blocks the frontal lobe. So if you're looking at things to look after your frontal lobe, refined sugar is one thing to take out. Anything with refined sugar in it. But if you have a sweet tooth, I say I don't have a sweet tooth, they're all sweet. But, go on Janine's page and learn how to make some really simple things that can help to replace that. And you're looking after your brain at the same time. So eat a diet rich in vitamin D. Eat vitamin D rich foods, because we looked earlier at the importance of vitamin D and the brain and the mood. And also the B vitamins. Anything that has B vitamins helps with the nervous system and our mood. So B12, vitamin D, B complex, those things, foods that are high in vitamin B and vitamin B complex really helps with the nervous system and the brain. So a plant-based diet, you follow plant-based diet as much as you can, avoid refined foods, and choose foods in their natural state and avoid stimulants. Choose food in their natural state and avoid stimulants. Janine can put her stuff in the chat, her program in the chat, her Instagram page in the chat. So I want to say something about stimulants. I worked for many years in addictions. And one of the things we would say to people as we were weaning them off alcohol is to avoid stimulants. And that was always interesting to me, that we would, and it wasn't a Christian program, but we know what the research shows around stimulants. When you're trying to come off something like alcohol, if you go on coffee, it has a similar effect on the body. And so they're saying avoid stimulants. So we would say to our clients, avoid anything with stimulants and avoid sugary foods. Because when they're coming off alcohol, sometimes people eat a lot of ice cream and drink a lot of tea and coffee. And we would say, try to drink caffeine-free things and avoid sugary products. So isn't that interesting? That's really interesting when we're thinking about also our overall well-being. So it's really good to avoid or limit as much as possible these foods when you're looking after your brain and your overall well-being. Foods high in vitamin B, as I said, which helps the brain and nervous system. So foods like chickpeas and oats, those are high. Anything that folates, like things with tryptophan, like walnuts, almonds, tofu. Louise can show you how to make tofu really deliciously. So things like that really helps with the brain and the nervous system. Things that are, as I say, tryptophan and omega-3 fatty acids, which flaxseed, grounded flaxseed, really provides the omega-3 that we need, and it really does help with mood, as with our moods as well. And there are simple things that we can do with flaxseed, ground flaxseed. I like the energy bars with the ground flaxseed, peanut butter, some honey, and sometimes I break pistachio and put in it, and it's a nice crunchy bar that reminds me of Snickers, because I love chocolate, used to love chocolate, but this replaces it for me, satisfies my sweet tooth, give me my omega-3, and I feel good eating it. So foods that are high in that really helps with our mood and manage our nervous system. So nuts, as I said, like walnuts, almond, grounded flaxseed, and those kind of foods help us as well. Okay, so there are different things that you can do with walnuts. You can make cookies, you can make burgers, really simple things that are easy to do. If you can't do all of these, don't make it stress you. Just eat a handful of nuts, and it does the same thing. Okay. And flaxseed, grounded flaxseed, they're sold in Aldi, I think, or you can just grind them in your blender, and it will grind the flaxseed to powder, because it needs to go in your bloodstream. If you eat it in this state, then it won't, and it really helps with the mood, with our moods. And chickpeas, there's so many things that you can do with it. If you're not plant-based, the idea of chickpeas might be a little bit daunting. I remember my friends used to laugh at me when they said, "What are you having for dinner?" And I said, "Chickpeas." They laughed at me because they never heard of chickpeas or having chickpeas for your dinner. So you know, there's so many things to do with it. There's hummus. You can buy hummus in the shop, or you can make it very easily yourself. It's not difficult at all. So there's a number of things that you can do with chickpeas. Make burgers, chickpea curry, roast it and put it in your salad. A range of stuff that you can do with it, but it really does help. Okay, so I just want to leave, as we end, leave my contact details there, and if you have any questions, I'm sure Natalia will tell us what to do next. Over to you, Natalia. You're on mute.
10 minutes. I can't hear Natalia, but
thank you. I couldn't unmute.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. Let me change it. Sorry.
It's fine. Joanna, thank you so much for that informative presentation. We've got a lot of skills, guys, that we can take away from today. I was blessed by it, so thank you. I think it'd be good to, answer some of these questions. Someone's had the hand up in the chat, so maybe we could. Yeah. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Foundation of Health and Light Ministry. Would you like to ask a question?
Sorry, I think it went up by mistake.
Okay, no worries. So there's a couple of questions in the chat.
There was somebody regarding sleep. I can't remember what it was now. I can't remember where it was. I don't know if the person would like to speak about it. It was to do with sleeping, a certain time for sleeping, but I saw it, I don't know where it is.
Or we can just open up the floor for anyone else who would like to ask Joanna any questions.
Yeah.
I was asking about sleep. Hi.
Hello.
Presentation. I need about 9 hours sleep at the minute, but I don't get that much. I get very disturbed sleep. And the other day, I must have woke about 9:15 in the morning, and I should have been at work like 45 minutes or so before then. So any tips on getting a better sleeping pattern? Any tips? I don't necessarily go late.
Okay. So some of the things that I'd say is one of the things that Dr. Nedler recommends in his depression recovery program is a hot and cold shower before bed, as well as your night light, no gadgets before bedtime, and just start to wind your body down gradually. I like to recommend also having a book and pen by the bedside, because sometimes our mind is going and the things that are in our mind keeps us awake. So if that's one of the problems, just have something to write. I call it a dump. Just write out what's in your mind. Just put it down without any meaning or anything like that. Just write it down. I know some people recommend magnesium as well. When I was at the health retreat in October, we used that to help to relax, or chamomile tea. But the hot and cold shower also really helps. So try some of those things to see if you can have longer sleep. I know Charlene and them do essential oils. One of the things that people use is lavender. Put lavender on your pillows and things like that to help to anything to make the environment calm and as soothing as possible, and see if that helps to improve your sleep. Failing that, and your GP knowing and discussing it, just think about what's on my mind and what's keeping me awake, to see how you can work with somebody to help you to kind of process what's on your mind so that you can get quality sleep.
Thank you.
Another good herb is ashwagandha. That's known for helping people to relax and to sleep. So that's something else. Oh, true. It's in the chat, the spelling of it. If that, you can do some research on that herb and see if that could also be that. You can drink that as a tea or put it in a smoothie before you go to bed.
Yes, and somebody said bergamot essential oil drops on the pillow works as well. So some good suggestions.
Yeah, bergamot's good.
Thank you. That's really useful.
I don't think there's many questions, Natalia, so I don't know if anybody wants to just unmute. I do see Louise saying about making cakes, use natural fruits instead of the sugar, of what Joanna was saying regarding sugar and to eliminate it when it comes to mental health or reduce it.
Refined sugars.
Oh, refined sugars, okay. Refined sugars, so those lovely cakes, maybe you can make it with natural fruits or have an alternative that's not refined, as Joanna was saying. But I can't see any other questions.
I've got a good idea. If there aren't any questions now, we can still continue to ask questions, but I'm thinking maybe I should let them know about the challenge. I think that may definitely help with sleep. And in regards to what Joanna was saying, I think it will really help for this week. So guys, this week's challenge is based on exercise, and basically what we're going to be doing, we're going to be chasing those endorphins this week. So we've just learned how amazing exercise can be for our mental health, especially for me personally. The gym used to be a real big coping mechanism for me. Just getting your heart rate going, like having a good sweat, like it's just so good to make you feel better. It helps you to feel more confident. It reduces stress and anxiety, helps you to sleep better. It increases your cognitive function, and much more. Exercise is great. So guys, I'm going to give you some little exercise things that we can do inside as well as outside. So if we're going to go with the outside exercises, what you can do for this week's challenge is go for a brisk walk. So not a little walk in your supermarket, not a little walk around the block, like a good walk where you're walking very fast and your heart rate is speeding up and you start to kind of sweat. If you're going to do walking, we're going to do that kind of walking, a brisk walk, okay? That's one exercise. Another exercise I'm going to challenge you guys with is to get a skipping rope. I don't know if anyone owns a skipping rope, but just to let you know, skipping ropes are so cheap on eBay. You can get them for like £3, right? And just do some skipping in your garden. Skip, skip, skip. I'll have you know, guys, as well, skipping is actually better exercise than running. Bet you didn't know that, did you? I didn't know that either. Get skipping, really, really, really good. So you can skip, you can do a brisk walk. Another one, which is really good for inside, which I'm going to be doing soon, hopefully, is running up and down the stairs. Maybe not running up and down the stairs. I will say a disclaimer, like, take your time. You can walk up and down the stairs and then improve it, build it up as you keep going. But I'm going to start off with running up and down the stairs. I'm going to run up and then I'm going to walk down. I'm going to run up and then I'm going to walk down. I'm going to be on, like, basically I'm going to be trying my best to sweat. I'm not going to do a lot of exercise, but I want to set you guys a 10-minute challenge every day to sweat. So we've got brisk walk, we've got skipping rope, we've got running up and down the stairs. Or another one that you can do for the women, especially, you can do squats, right? So you keep your feet firmly on the ground and you go down, holding your foot in place and you come back up again. I'm sure you guys know what squats are. If you don't know what squats are, go on YouTube. It's pretty easy. You don't need to use any weights. You can use your own body weight with the squats. Or if you really, really want to go all out, you can hold on to one of your children and you can do a squat with them, depending on how old they are. If you've got babies, it's a good exercise for any young mums. Another one for the men, any dads out there that's listening, or any men in general. Press-ups. Press-ups are really, really good to get your heart rate going and to get those endorphins. So those are the cardiovascular exercises that we're setting for this week's challenge. I really hope that you guys will take on the challenge. I'm definitely going to be taking on the challenge. And I'm going to look so forward to hearing from you guys next week to see how it went. If you can, which will be really, really, really good, get your child or your teenager or, I don't know, your wife or your husband or whoever you live with, get your housemate to film you doing it. That would be even better to, you know, get that, you know, the social aspect of mental health. It's good for us to be interacting and stuff. So I thought it'd be good if we could get like little videos and we can share that together because we're all on a journey together. But yes, guys, was someone just saying something?
Cycling.
Cycling. Yes. Cycling is great. You can add cycling in there as well. If you've got a bike or an exercise bike, whichever one, cycling. Yes. Shirley, which one of these challenges will you be taking up?
I'll probably do the stairs one. That one sounds interesting because sometimes I'll do that. I'll go up the stairs and then come back down. So I'll definitely be doing the stairs one. I have got a rebounder. I see Stuart's message in there. And I will try and do that one. That one really gets your heart racing. And with the rebounder, it is a good form of exercise. The rebounders, like the mini trampolines, they're really good. So I'll see if I can do that one and then the stairs one. But other than that, I'll try and do my walking. I don't know if Natalia's dropped off. Yes, she has. She has dropped off. So yes, that's the exercise that I will be doing. I'm not sure what exercises everybody else will be doing for this week, but I hope we're able to see it on our platforms. I did put the link in the chat for anyone that's not a part of our platforms to join it. It's on Telegram. So just click the link. If you have Telegram on your phone already, click the link and you should be added onto it. And that way we'll be able to interact with one another. Joanna mentioned earlier how it's good on these platforms to speak, to smile with one another, to talk. Really good for that social aspect. And then we can share on the platform, see who's doing what. I know Sharon before was showing us walking when she was out in the country of the walks. So let's see what exercises you'll be doing for this week. But also don't forget Lewis's challenge as well, because his was 3 weeks of the 10, some of the 10, but to remove one of the I can't remember what the word is, but the bad stuff, the bad stuff. So eliminate at least one of them, but we will repost it on the platforms. So I'm not sure if there's any other questions for Joanna. She's still there. I can see her smiling away. So she's still there. So I don't know if there are any questions for her or anything that anyone would like to say. Everyone's okay with the challenge. And it feels like I'm talking to myself. It's so quiet.
You're not talking to yourself. We're here.
Thank you. Is it Kai?
Yeah,
Kai,
you're not
Kai?
talking to yourself. We're taking it in.
You're taking it in. Thank you, Kai. Thank you. So I'm not sure if anybody else would like to say anything. But also I did put on there our spiritual health platform as well. That's on there in the chat. So you're welcome to join that platform also. For this next week, we will be having our doctor on, Dr. Louisa. And she's going to be, I don't think she's on the chat on here now. Jason is, but I don't know if he's busy. But she will be discussing our immune system. She did mention it before last year, but the immune system and what we're facing at this time. So she'll be discussing the immune system and how to increase it for next week. Yes, for next week. So Natalia's coming on now. So yes, so for next week will be Dr. Louisa coming on onto the platform regarding the immune system. In the week, we have our essential oil class on a Thursday. There's also Tuesday Bible study at, I think it's changed to 7 now, with Alvin and Lewis. And then the essential oil class is on a Thursday, where we're doing detox and stuff with the oils. So yeah, so quite a lot of things happen in the week. So it's always on our platforms of what's happening.
Charlene?
Hi, Natalia. You left me.
My laptop died. I was just jabbering and
no.
it died on me, but never mind. So
okay.
I missed the end of it. Did anyone respond to taking on the challenge? Is anyone going to be doing it?
Natalia, can I just, there's a question that was asked privately.
Mm-hmm.
Can the tools be used for healing childhood trauma in adults? Definitely. They can, but what I would say is, depending on the trauma, it really is good to, when we're working with trauma, we have to engage the body as well in the healing, especially when it happens in childhood and it's been repressed and we haven't processed it. And what I mean by processing, I mean talking it through with anyone to come to a place of resolution where the wound is not as painful. What we know through research is that, and if you read online, you can type this in Google, adverse childhood experiences, or there is a TED talk by Nadine Burke-Harris called the impact of adult childhood trauma across a lifetime, or something like that, or health inequalities. I don't remember exactly the name of her TED talk. But people who experience childhood trauma are twice more likely to have depression, hypertension, diabetes, and die 20 years earlier than everybody else. And when I remember when I first heard that and say, God, what's going to make the difference? And this really does make the difference. And the more I learn about strategies that we use to help people heal overall, some of these things are incorporated in, especially the E part. And I say especially, but there is it's all important, but the exercise piece is really important, because when we consider the impact of it on our organs, and sometimes digestion is compromised. So we're learning amazing strategies on here about how to eat and the things that we do. But if digestively it's not working because there is unprocessed pain sitting there, like just sitting there, then we need to know what to do in order to work that through so that we can digest quick, easily, and we can eat. Sometimes we use food to cope. Sometimes the sugary foods that we eat is not because we need it, but it's because we need it as a way to cope. Sometimes we go when we're looking for things to cope with, we go to sugar and carbs, those satisfying things. And then the weight gain comes, and then the depression comes, and manage our mental health. So I would say, if you are wanting something to use generally or to deal with anything alongside, you might need to do it alongside other things, but definitely practice these. And there's a link, and I might put it in the chat, that I have the self-care manifesto that also goes through some of these things, and you can have it to look at, to practice every day. But definitely it will help. It can help. I hope that answers the question. Let me know privately, and if anybody else has any similar type, definitely. Back to you, Natalia.
Thank you for that, Joanna. I don't know if there's any more questions.
Yes, no, it's not a question. Joanna mentioned some recipes and stuff. I think she said about Janine, for Janine to put the link on the on the chat. Joanna, did you mention some recipes?
Yes, I did. Yes. Janine's Plant Easy Instagram page that has lovely recipes.
Okay,
Janine,
is that in the chat?
Hi, Bridget. Oh, can you hear me? Yeah, I've put it in the chat. I'll put it in again, but yeah, it's just Plant Easy on Instagram, but I'll put it in the chat now.
As well, Joanna, do you want to share about the detox program that you'll be doing, if anybody's interested in that?
Okay, so a colleague of mine who does something similar to this, she's also a medical missionary, and we're doing a 10-day detox for help with mental and physical health. So I'm going to be doing the mental part of it, and it starts on the 24th of January. We're signing up until tomorrow. Tomorrow is the cutoff. So if anybody wants to know, you can ring me and we can talk some more about it. But she provides the herbs and juicing directions for the physical part, and I provide the mental health support. We're going to have we're meeting on Zoom for the first day like this, where we will discuss and talk through. And also we're going to have a dedicated group where we're going to do regular videos to answer your questions and to give directions, because we want to help people to maintain good mental health. And we know that it works together, because the body sympathizes with the mind and the mind with the body. So they don't operate in isolation. And we want to be able to give you give you a start at least to overall health and well-being. And we know that, I like to quote research, because it says we have 6,000 thoughts every day. And sometimes those thoughts are repetitive thoughts. That means they repeat about the same thing. We have the same negative thoughts about the same situation, over and over and over again. And if we don't know how to break out of that negative thought pattern and how to implement a more positive way of thinking, then we can trap ourselves into that place for a long, long time. And it can be debilitating. And also we have negative rules around our negative thought patterns. So for example, a negative message might be, what happens in this house stays in this house. And so a negative rule is, I don't talk about my business. You mustn't air your dirty laundry, things like that. And so what we do is lock things inside, and it's hazardous to our mental and our physical health. So this detox really is a way to highlight those things for you and to give you real strategies to cope. The videos that I will do, the audios that I will give, they're yours for life, that you can always use them again and again and again to maintain health. So if you want to know more about that, my number is there. You can give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you. There's one more thing that I'd like to highlight as well, Joanna.
Yeah.
You know, in regards to mental health, like for me personally, I'm a counsellor as well. I don't know whether I mentioned that, but my way of coping is laughing. Laughing is such a good coping mechanism for myself. Like, I like to laugh, and in Proverbs it does say that a merry heart doeth good, like a medicine. And it like a medicine, but a broken spirit is like dry bones. I am like dry bones if I'm not keeping a happy mindset, like laughing. I like to laugh. So I just wanted to put that one out there. That's my way of dealing with things, but just to encourage someone, it's good to have a good laugh as well as everything else. So yes, guys, any more?
Yes. Hi, good evening again, everyone. It's me, Sharon. Sorry, I should just switch my camera on because it's on. Right, Joanne, thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
I noticed earlier on you were saying about vitamin D, and especially if we're living in the UK or in Europe, bearing in mind we've got an international audience. I was speaking with a consultant this week in my hospital, well, not my hospital, but the hospital that I work in. And he was telling me that in India, they recommend giving vitamin D, high dose vitamin D to the population. And I said, why in India? There's so much sunshine there, you know, do they really need the vitamin D?
They covered up.
And then he said, yes, because not everybody wants to go out well, not many people want to go out when the sun's really hot. And in the beginning of the day when the sun's cooler or in the evening, people are busy. So, and as our sister rightly said, a lot of people are still covered up. So even in the hot countries, we do need to consider our vitamin D intake if we're actually getting enough from the sunshine, and if not, we may need to supplement.
There you go.
So yeah, it's not just the UK. Yeah, there's plenty others out there that need it. And in terms of the challenge, Natalia, I'm going to do some squats because I know they burn me when I go down and hold it, especially if you go down and you try and hold it for like 5-10 seconds. And I'm sure people don't need me to demo those, but yeah, probably put it. I'll get someone to video me and I'll drop it in the WhatsApp page. And hi, our YouTube viewers. Thank you for joining us faithfully week after week. I appreciate you coming on here as well.
Lovely. And Sharon, the squats will bring you other rewards. It will help you to tone up, you know, so it's good for our mental health, but it's also good for our confidence too. We'll be feeling good, looking good.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll still keep doing my walks because I really do enjoy walking in the fresh air.
There is somebody mentioned praise that they like worship music, and music is an amazing coping mechanism as well. So that's great. Yeah, music is amazing for helping with our mental health.
To be honest, you could combine it. If you go on a walk and you're somewhere where there's nice fresh air and there's nobody that's
there you go.
You can put your headphones in and either listen to a presentation or listen to music and have some good quality me time.
Hello.
Any more questions, anyone?
I just wanted to give a testimony about music, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
I'm part of a choir in Reading called Reading Community Gospel Choir. And a lady came off the street and walked in and she said, I'm going to give this God thing a try through the choir. And she was with us for about 2 years. And through her time, she admitted that she tried to commit suicide twice and it failed. So this was her last, try at life. Anyway, she joined the choir. She not only joined the choir, she got baptized in the church.
Amen.
Gave her testimony on Songs of Praise on TV, that she attempted to commit suicide twice. So going back to music, it is a fantastic avenue. And if we link it with religious music, even better.
Amen. Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. What was the name of your choir?
It's Reading Community Gospel Choir.
Readington Community, okay.
Reading Community Gospel Choir. And the lady, I think her name is on there, and her name is Valerie. So she's got her testimony on Public View, that how many times she tried to commit to suicide, and if it wasn't for joining the choir and singing about God and learning about God through the music, she would have given up a long time ago because she had nothing to live for.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks God. Thanks God.
Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. So yes, guys, music, amazing tool as well for our mental health. Any more comments before we come to a close?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I added there that I read a study about sunscreen in Australia, one of the hottest places, causing vitamin D deficiency. Sunscreen.
Oh, the sunscreen.
Yeah.
Yes.
They overused it.
Because that's the barrier. Yeah.
They overused it.
Thank you, Audrey, for that. Yeah, the sunscreen. You need to be careful when it comes to the sunscreen and the sun. You're not getting the vitamin D. Oh, okay.
Hi. I just wanted to know, my name is Joyce. I just wanted to know if I can ask a question on how to deal with a situation that I had encountered about 3 weeks ago at work. So I work in a hospital, and I run 2 clinics, but on this particular day, I was doing a free man's job. And so I get up at 6 o'clock, have my worship, and get to work for 8 o'clock to start the clinic at 8:20. So one of the senior nurses who's been there for about 10 years or so, I've just started this job. It's a 1-year contract and it ends in August. And I'm the only Black woman there, amongst other ethnic minorities and other nationalities. Anyway, so she was basically telling me to hurry up. I was talking to a colleague, a domestic colleague, and she was saying to me to hurry up, we've got to start the clinic. But it was 8 minutes past 8, and the clinic doesn't start until 8:20, and I had already set up the clinic the day before. So I just got my things together and I said, okay, I'm coming. But so I was in my office, and she said, oh, her computer is not working, and she just bust into my office and she pushed me aside with her elbow. And so I left my office to go into the next office to accommodate her. But then kind of realizing what she did, I came back and I started shouting at her and telling her that she's not my mother. And I just kind of basically saw red, and I went back at her and I started shouting at her. And so so that day I did automatically, I just got an instant headache, and I normally kind of like suffer with blood pressure, but this type of blood pressure was worse. I had a massive headache, but I had to see to just under 100 patients on my own, which is a three-man job. Managed to accomplish this. Did the bloods and managed to collect other things to do with the patients and make referrals and whatever. So I went back to the office now to do some admin work, and my head just wasn't feeling right, and I just couldn't concentrate, and I just couldn't do anything. So I saw the doctor in our clinic, and I asked her to check my blood pressure. It was 172/16, and I took my blood pressure tablet, amlodipine, 5 milligram, and she said, let's wait for about 10 minutes to see if it will go down after taking your medication. It actually was going up. So she says to me, you know what? I recommend that you go to A&E. So I went to A&E. By the time I had reached to A&E and I was seen to, my blood pressure had risen to 195 to 120. And they gave me another medication, another tablet, Laster, it's called something potassium, and it was 50 milligram to bring down the blood pressure. So they did all these tests on me, ECG, X-ray, blood test, did physical observations, felt my legs, my knees and everything, and did my urine test, and they basically said that we can't see anything wrong with you. So the doctor, he was puzzled, and he came back and he said, did you have a trauma at work today? And I said, yes. I kind of like, yeah, exploded. I was provoked by a senior staff, and he said, you know, you need rest, you know, we'll give you this tablet, but you need rest. So that happened about 3 weeks ago. I have been given a month off by the GP, and I've been put on all sorts of kind of different medication, which I really, really resent, because everybody who knows me as an active person. I don't eat meat, I don't eat fish, I don't eat any dairy products, and so I'm resting. My daughter is here cooking for me. So I'm every morning I'd wake up with headaches and my blood pressure would be high, so I would take the medication. But my daughter's been so good to me, because every morning she does like the beetroot juice with celery and grapes. She's doing her best to like look after me. And I've been hearing what you guys has been saying, and I'm going to take note of it. But what I wanted to ask for some advice is that how better could I have coped or with that situation? Because it seems as though like I am minding my own business, and it's like the devil is just sending people to like come and provoke me, and for no apparent reason. So it's like I'm my mind is boggled as to how I can deal with certain situations when they just like flash up with, you know, with like no notice. It just comes. It's like an attack, you know. So I'm not good at coping with my temper. So I just wanted to know, because I've got to go back to work in February, and I'm just thinking, like, if this happens again, like how can I cope with the situation? You know, I don't want to commit an outburst, which I did a couple of weeks ago, because I went for her and she had to call another nurse. By the time that the other senior nurse came, I had to just control myself in order to deal with the 100 patients that I had to deal with a massive headache. So I'm just asking for some advice on how to deal with workplace situations when it arises unannounced. Please, thank you.
Wow, Joyce, that sounds like quite a situation you had there, and your response. And I hope that you've reported it and that there are internal processes that can also be there to protect you. That that shouldn't have happened. Nobody should I have to face that in the workplace, and I'm sure that if you work with the NHS, they must have internal processes that can happen to look after you. So I hope that is in motion.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And we can't do it justice on this conversation as well. And you mentioned that you wake up with headaches in the morning. That means it's there. It's still there. It's not gone anywhere.
Yeah.
You need to be able to work through what else happened, what else was underneath, not just the fact that she pushed you. When we are in positions like that, and the body goes into this automatic fight or flight response, we don't control it. It's just what happens. We go into the emotional brain, into the amygdala, where emotions are, the emotional center, and it puts us in our fight or flight response automatically. As I said, 15 milliseconds between her pushing you and you're responding, right? Yeah. And you said you have that's an issue anyway. So that's just one incident. You're saying I struggle to cope generally and to manage emotions. Is that what you're saying? Managing your anger?
Yeah, it's like I'm not an angry person. I just don't tolerate.
Right.
I just don't tolerate stupid behaviors, negative behaviors. I just, say it as it is. But because she touched me, I kind of like nearly went for her by pushing the trolley forward to push at her. But it's like the Holy Spirit said, no, Joyce, no. And that when she saw that I was coming at her, pushing the trolley towards her, she called for backup, And so I just had to quickly refrain myself and say, Lord, help me, Lord, help me, Lord, help me. I've got to deal with these patients and I'm on my own, and I've got to deal with these 100 patients and I'm on my own. The workload was just so much. And I just said, you know what? I said to the colleagues, I'm going home because my blood pressure is high. So I have been off since, and the doctor's been good to me to give me like time off. But while having time off, I'm really doing a lot of reflection on my behavior, because even though it could have been excused by saying my behavior was appropriate at the time, for me, who is suffering now, I now know that it wasn't the appropriate behavior that I displayed.
Right. Joyce, my number is in the chat. Do you want to give me a call tomorrow?
Yes.
And we can talk about it. I also have a diary, a journal that I write that I'd like to send you one. It's called Staying at Peace in an Unsafe World. And it has 21 ways that we can use to manage big emotions when they come.
Yeah.
So I want to send that for you. So if you my number is in the chat. So if you give me a ring tomorrow and we can talk it through and I can help you to regulate so when that happens again, Joyce, so you stay in control. And so if anybody else who is listening, we have to be in control as much as we can all the time, because there are always going to be external stimulus, external triggers. And if we are not in the place where we're managing our emotions in an effective way, the world is going to manage it. The world is such a crazy, chaotic place. People have problems and they take their problems to work. So we have to be able to be in a space where we can be okay, where we can manage. And that's a process. It's a journey that we're all on. So Joyce, I'd like to, help you with that. If you give me a call, and I'll send you my journal as well. Charlene has put my number in the chat again. I'm free tomorrow. I can speak to as many people as I can between 11 and 1 tomorrow. So if you call me, then we can talk.
Yes, thank you very much, Joanna.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Joyce.
Thank you.
I just wanted to check, is there any more comments before we come to a close now? anything that anyone's learned, anything that anyone is taking away with them today, something that you can incorporate into your daily life?
Hi, Natalia.
Hi, Edgar.
Hi. Somebody's just asked on YouTube, could you repeat the course and when it's going to be running and so on? Could you just repeat the information and the cost, as a few people are interested?
Okay, the challenge, the detox it starts on the 24th of January, and it's a mental and physical detox. So where I work to help you with negative thought patterns, negative messages, how to manage things like fear and guilt and anger and those big emotions that tend to have an impact on the body as well. I give you a 21-day managing negative thought patterns audio and the videos throughout the 10 days of the challenge. And Jackie, who is a medical missionary that I'll be working with, she's sending the herbs out and giving you juice and directions and stuff like that. So she works with the body, I work with the mind. The challenge is £80, and there are bank details that you can pay through. And of course, talk to us if there's, if that's an issue and you'd like to talk to us, talk to me or Jackie. Both of our names are on the poster. Unfortunately, I can't post the poster in the chat because it's on my phone, not on my laptop. If I could, I would do that. But if you ring me, I'll send it to you. I hope that helps. If you have any other question, I'm going to put my number in there. My number is, for those on YouTube, maybe one of the admins can put my number on YouTube as well. I'm fine with that because it's the work number. Or my email address, that's joanna@woundsthescars.com. And I'll be happy to answer any more questions that you have.
Thank you, Joanna.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. So I think Ed will do that for the YouTube audience. Natalia?
Yes, Shirley.
I'm not sure we have any more comments or anything, or whether it will be closing remarks.
Yeah, closing remarks, guys. Let's get those endorphins this week. Looking forward to seeing you all in your videos as well. Getting that exercise. And I hope that today has been a blessing to you all and that you learned something to take away. Thank you so much, Joanna, for coming and sharing. We really, really appreciate it. So yes, guys, I think that will be the end of the presentation today. Shirley, over to you.
Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you very much, Joanna, for coming on. It was good of what you've done for us, especially when it comes to the mind and what's happening now. Mm-hmm. So we thank you for coming on. We thank you for our new visitors that came on today, our regular ones that's always coming on. So we thank you for tuning in with us, and also for our YouTube audience. We thank you as well for joining with us on YouTube. So thank you all, and we will see you. If you're on our platform, we'll be talking to you on there. If not, we'll see you whether you come on the Bible study, the essential oils, or next week, Saturday again. Thank you.
Thank you.